Lauren?
Yeah.
All right, are you ready to hear about today's episode?
Sure.
All right, now here's the backstory. So we are speaking with Sir Thomas Cole today, epic twin dad, musical extraordinaire, now a new feature presentation of his own YouTube reality show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to talk to Thomas. So now I met Thomas and his husband a few years ago, back when we were still doing Twiniversity classes online, because it was during the pandemic, so we weren't back in person yet. And they lived in Queens at the time. And I just remember during the Zoom, they had such an epic kitchen. I couldn't control myself. I was like, I need a tour. Like, if you like, what kind of home do you live in? So the reason why he stood out because he's just an absolutely very dynamic person. He's captivating. Like, no matter how much you try to ignore him, you can't. And when you're teaching a class and there may be 30 people in the class, when somebody shines like that, it's really fascinating. And so he's forever stayed in my brains. And so when we were starting to like recruit for this season's podcast, I literally was like, he's got to be on this. He's got to be on this. Lauren, he's seriously like super duper, super fab. And I know that they moved for a hot minute because they were trying to get out of Dodge post-pandemic. They were like going to live in a house like regular, normal people. And then he's like, yes, we're not doing that. We're back in Manhattan. So they moved back to Manhattan and he is raising his 20s with his partner. They do have a nanny. She's in like every episode of the YouTube reality show, which I love, which is really well produced, by the way, for the record. I think is unbelievable. And when we were taping our podcast, it ended up being on his reality show.
Oh.
So virtually, I wonder if I got a credit on that.
Yeah, you should have a little credit there.
I wonder, but I can't wait because it's just a really good insight. And if you don't know any two dad families, Thomas is a great look inside of it. So I highly recommend that if you're like, no, we don't know this. And if you're like, I think that is an abomination. Well, I'm sorry, but he is a twin family just like everybody else. But I would say, even if no matter where you stand on gay marriage, no matter where you stand on homosexuality, he is one of us. He is a twin dad, just like us, doing it one day at a time. And I freaking love him. And I think he is such a great representation of what a real dad is. But he's definitely extra.
Ooh.
He's super extra. Like, he would be at the beach with you guys making to-go rum drinks with the to-go blender.
I'm now to the island of Long.
100%. I think that's where they moved for a minute. All right. All right. You got to meet him. I can't even wait because I know that after you listen to this, you're going to go to his YouTube channel and want to watch that. All the things are going to be in the show notes below, et cetera, et cetera. Are you ready to meet him? You're going to love him. Oh, Lauren, I can't wait. All right. Here's Thomas.
It's official, Thomas. You are part of our podcasting family. Welcome to the club.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be a part of the club, honored, all of it.
Oh, I love stalking you guys. I've loved stalking you I remember when we had our class it was a virtual class and I remember seeing your kitchen and do you remember that I had kitchen envy? And I was like, shit, let me see the kitchen. It was really, really, really great. So did it work out? Starting with your twinnies in that house, are you still in that house?
No, we moved 2 months ago. Yeah, we're back in Manhattan.
Okay, that's exciting. Are you downtown by me?
No, we are just south of Central Park. We're at
win them all.
Yeah, like 6th Avenue.
I'll be down here in slums.
So easy to get to you, though. We have all the trains. Like, compared to living out on Long Island, I can get anywhere, anytime. Like, so much easier.
Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you back on this island.
It's a very nice homecoming. You know, we moved out to Long Island to have our kids, but also escape the pandemic, kind of have our little COVID escape. And we were planning to stay there for 2 years, or at least until COVID was over. Mm-hmm. We ended up staying 4. So it's been time.
but you had a great kitchen in the meantime.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
do
seriously.
that kitchen because now the kitchen is not that.
Imagine. So now you have your puppies. The puppies are here. You are a well-established Papa Bear, a card-carrying twin daddy-o.
Yes.
How has it been?
You know, every day has its ups and downs. But they are our angels from heaven. Like, everyone says be careful what you wish for, but I do agree with that, but not when it comes to the twins.
Oh, that's really, I'm so happy that everything is going so great. And you guys really have been, you're just extraordinary. And I do stalk you on social because I have no choice, because you're just so stunningly beautiful that I just want to look at you all day, and you're really good at that. So I love that you do. But how has it been? Like, how are you managing everything, right? Because the kiddos are getting bigger. So when they were little, you definitely were pulled in different directions because you have to keep them alive, right? And even
Right.
before we pressed record, like, they're still like toppling off things because that's what toddlers do. This is just the age of chaos. How are you currently managing the chaos with downsizing your apartment, with changing up your location, right? You can't just open a door and be like, go run around in the backyard. It's a different world. How has the transition been from living in the burbs to here and having this specific age 20s? And first of all, tell us how old your 20s are. Tell us a little bit about the 20s. I feel selfish because I'm like, I know all about the 20s, but I realize that my mom that's listening, she does not know about the 20s. So yeah, give us a little picture into that, and then we'll go into that. How did these 20s even come to be?
So Demi and Benjamin, they are 2.5 years old. We're going through the terribles right now. And I tell you what, it is a challenge. And moving on top of all of that and flipping their world upside down has certainly been tricky. But, you know, the adjustment has been surprisingly easy in some areas where I thought it would be more challenging. Like, for example, when we lived on Long Island, they had 2 separate rooms, and now downsizing, we have a 2-bedroom here. So they are sharing their room now. And I thought that was going to be chaos, but I guess, you know, when they were born and when they first went into their nursery, they were together. And then as they got a little bigger, we separated them so one wouldn't wake up the other if their schedules were a little off.
So you thought that it was going to be chaos with having them both go back to the same room, but the transition's been easier than expected.
Yes. We do still have our live-in nanny, which has been a godsend. She's with us 5 days a week.
Okay.
And then we just started daycare right before we moved. They were going to daycare 3 days a week. And then we moved here and we're in daycare 5 days a week, half days.
Okay. Wow. All right. So now, how is it going with being like a 2-papa family, right? How has the transition been from the island to coming back here, right? So before we even started taping, it's like, I always feel that we're so fortunate to live in a land of like epic diversity, right? And that clearly we know, both you and I know, that there is 700,000 variations of what a twin family looks like. Right. And I don't actually know if the Twiniversity population in general understands the big Papa group that we have. Like, we have a crap ton of daddios in our group, which is so fantastic. And you guys have such an interesting perspective on things. And for all my mama bears out there, please don't be offended, but it's not as black and white as I think a lot of people would think that like a man would typically like approach parenthood. You guys are so delicious and generous and nurturing and kind and caring and just absolutely scrumptious. Do you find that Long Island was equally as accepting of your scrumptiousness, or like was that one of the reasons to move back to a city where it is definitely easier to blend like a lot more here? I mean, for real, like nobody's even going to think twice about any type of family that walks down the block here. Did you find that transition did that play any role at all into coming back to a ginormous city?
100%.
Really?
So, yes, living out on Long Island as a 2-dad family with twins, like there's nobody out there that looks like us. It's a very heavy Middle Eastern, Jewish, Russian, Asian population.
Uh-huh.
So that's right there, a bunch of conservative values wrapped up in one. But that's stereotypical too. I don't want to generalize, right? But we would it was going to the supermarket, just weird stares. I don't know, maybe it's the blonde hair.
No, it shouldn't be. But honestly, Thomas, that like for realsies, like you could walk down here with like a cat on your head in Manhattan. Nobody's going to be like, they're going to be like, oh my God, that's such a cute cat. That's literally the only thing that we're going to say here.
It's very judgmental out in the burbs, I'll say. It was suffocating, especially being so far away from my friends too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what am I doing out here? I moved to New York City to be in the city.
Yeah.
I'm an artist as well as a father. So I want to keep that part of me alive. Like the music and the creativity side of myself. So that's been really important. And I feel completely revived and rejuvenated. It's almost like moving to New York City all over again. You feel the magic in the air.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been a really positive mood for my mental health, but I feel like for the kids too, they're adapting beautifully. We go to Central Park almost every day that the weather's nice, and they're obsessed with the horses. They're like, horses, nay. I'm like, very good, very good.
So do you feel that on Long Island that some of the judgmentalness was trickling down to them? Like, do you think that it had an impact? Because even though they're teeny tiny, right, you still are aware of what's happening around you.
I will tell you, we have been very strict about not sharing, even with family, whose twin is whose, right? Because I know very well that favorites could very well pop out of that from certain family members. So, they're both our kids.
Yeah.
They're both from us, whether that's biologically or not. You can make your guesses, but we're not going to confirm nor deny, because I don't want that to affect a relationship with a grandparent.
Yeah.
Or
that's
an uncle,
really sad. I'm sorry for you.
It's like, been, that
tough,
part has been tough for sure.
That's really, I can't even imagine being in those shoes. And so like, were they against you guys having kids in the first place? Or were they like pro, like, yeah, let's have, we would love some grandkids? Or was it like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't right.
Well, they were anti the marriage, but then once the marriage happened and they realized, I'm here to stay.
Yeah.
Obviously they want grandbabies, and, they've got 4 now. Between Ryan's siblings as well, so it's good.
All right. I just know that always being here, I always feel safer for even my mom families, like in general. I just feel better, right? And then here, like raising kids in New York City, there is no real discussion about diversity, right? You're not going to have a lesson in school about diversity.
Right.
Like we open the door and welcome to diversity. Right. And then you could go, my kids were saying, I was talking to them the other day, my 20s are now 19, which is insane. So we were talking the other day, and yesterday, literally last night, I said to my dude, I was like, Bud, why don't you do study abroad? And I said, look into it, because I know they have like all these grants for kids, and like through the school, you could get like funding and stuff. So truthfully, I'm like, this is the time to travel. Plus, right, he's not going to like expect greatness. But he's like, Mom, why would I? And this is good and bad. But he was like, if I want to study abroad, I could see the whole world on the subway. He's like, I could go to Flushing, and he's like, I could go to Little Korea. Like he was literally naming the spots just in New York City that you could see the world. And
Right.
I never
That's
really thought about that,
beautiful.
Thomas. Yeah. And your kids are going to get that too. And this is not like guys, like an I Love New York podcast, but this is our reality. So you have to remember, like Thomas and I come from a land that, you guys see a lot on TV, maybe. And like you might see things and when Thomas and I watch that, we go, okay, well, that scene was in New York, but now we know that's a sound set, right? So we're like, yes, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, hold my beer. We know you're not all filmed here. Like, come on. I know that's the same studio as The Good Place. I noticed that the other day. I was pretty pissed off. But like, it's so interesting to raise kiddos here. And it's so exciting, especially you coming from a very place of art, right? So we have all that culture here. We have art, we have music, we have history, we have so many things. What are some of the things that like you guys are dying to get the kids into now that you're kind of back home?
Right. We've been kind of talking about enrichment classes and things like that, but I'm trying to think. They both really enjoy music and dancing and singing, which of course that obviously comes from me. But they're like, Demi likes to wrestle. Like she'll just run up and tackle and just start rolling on the ground, pinning you down, like more her brother. But they both have really started enjoying scootering.
Ooh.
So little sports. Yeah, I would say sports and music. Demi, they're both pretty good runners too. Demi's fast.
Oh, that's not good.
Be problematic.
Yes, that's not a good thing. That's it. Once they're both mobile, I was talking to another family too, and she was like, "Well, when are they supposed to crawl?" And I'm like, "Please hold off as long as possible until they really decide that they discover their free will, and they just go for it." Like living here too, do you have any hacks that you've developed to make sure that you guys could keep them safe while on the streets?
Well, we're still pretty confined to the stroller. But while we're in the park, excuse me, I let them, I take them out of the stroller and we walk as long as they're holding on to the stroller.
Yeah.
So we're walking down the sidewalk and, they've each got a hand on the stroller, and they don't let go. They don't see a squirrel and chase the squirrel. They just point to the squirrel while still holding on to the stroller. So I'm like, okay, that gives me a peace of mind. So we've started, a block before daycare, a block before getting home. We'll practice that on the actual street.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. Now, there's a woman at our daycare who has 2 or 3-year-olds, and they're scootering along the sidewalks, and she's running to keep up with them, and that gives me anxiety.
Yes, that would too,
But
especially at the corners.
I think that is my future. Oof. Yeah.
That is whether you like it or not, that is your future. So but baby steps.
Yes.
We're
doing little things here and there to train them into understanding, like, don't wander off.
Yeah.
We're already trying to be like, the man walking means go, and the red hand means stop. Just the amount of cars in this city that I always say living in New York is like a human game of Frogger.
It is.
And I don't think 2-year-olds it should be thrown into that world.
Yes.
But
it's really, really true. There's a newer game called Crossy Road that's like Frogger of like my kids' generation. And every time they were like playing it, they literally were like, this is crossing the Bowery. They're like, this is what it's like when you have like a 6-lane road that you have to cross. It's highly entertaining. As a driver in this fine city, I could tell you that I am one of the crazy people. And I'm always shocked at how like people push their stroller into the street before they go. And I'm like, do these parents not realize that like that kid is now in the street and they're behind them? Like, what are we doing?
You're using the kid as like
a shield. Like, what are we doing?
Shield.
Yeah, we're going to clip the kid. And so for the amount of times I'm so on heightened alert, and I thank God that I learned to drive in the city because I'm used to playing Frogger basically as one of the logs that would come down the road. But it's so crazy, all the things that we do. It is it's easier to raise kids in the city in some regards, but there are so many more challenges and there are so many more dangers, even just like going on the subway, right? Like I think my kids were about 3.5 when I started taking them on the subway without the stroller, which honestly, 0 out of 10, don't recommend. But I did it.
Stroller's better with like
Stroller's great.
carrying the stroller up and down the stairs. Well, you could find the
We have the
elevator.
train. Yes, we got the elevators now. So I had like a whole
The ones
route,
that smell like pee.
but I'll take the pee. I'll take the pee
Take the
as
pee
long
smell.
as they're functioning. I will take
Right.
that. I will bring some poopery. I will spray it on an elevator. I'm not above it. That's
a good
the way
idea.
that it goes. Yeah, I always had, or I would have they used to make this hand sanitizer called Clean Well, and it was like it wasn't an aerosol, but it was like a pump. So
A
that
little
was my
spritz.
hand sanitizer, but it would also be my air freshener whenever I needed it. See, things that people don't really ever think of, that might not realize there's so many more fun things to raising kids in New York City. But growing up here, like now I only grew up here, right? So like I really don't have a lot to compare it to. I'm born and raised in Manhattan. You growing up someplace else and then coming here, when you first got here, did you think that you wanted to raise your family here, or did you ever say like, oh no, we should slow down the pace, and when we have a family it should be a little slower, and you want a white picket fence and the 2.5 kids? The 0.5 is a little challenging at this point. That's
Yes.
I feel bad for the 0.5, but did you ever like think that this was going to be your life?
You know, it was always a dream. So I this is a funny story between me and my husband. On our first date, I told him, I was like, I want kids and I want to get married. If that's not something that you see for yourself, we can just call it right here and right now. And it was kind of a bold move, but I was so sick of having like dating people and having my values and goals not really align.
Yeah.
So it was a first date conversation. Very well could have made it a third date conversation, but I was to the point. I'm like, yes, I want to be a dad. I want to be a husband. These are my goals. So yes, I don't know if I necessarily saw myself raising kids in Manhattan, but at this point, there's no other option because Brian's business is rooted here.
Mhm.
We did try to stray to California and try to see if we could kind of expand our businesses over there. A year wasn't enough time to figure that out, so we just came back. But I love California. It's one of my favorite places. We actually just went there with the kids.
Oh.
And I am just done having to apologize to planes.
Truth. What
So,
happened on
Disney
this trip?
World.
Because you said that. You said like, oh, traveling with Twinnies. What happened on this trip? How did that go?
The first half of the flight was fine. I get really anxious in enclosed spaces and not being able to leave if I want to or need to. And that's just my own personal anxiety. But then add having kids on top of that, it takes it to a whole nother level. And, when they get unhappy and they start screaming, especially Benjamin, he can hit like a G5 easy with his scream. And it just, when he starts and doesn't stop, it becomes a problem.
So did that happen on the plane or in the airport? Like where did you
On the
think
plane.
that there was the breakdowns?
It was on the plane, the last 2 hours of the flight.
Oh, coming home or going there?
Going there.
Oh, even more fun.
But then coming home, our flight was canceled after sitting for 3 hours on the tarmac at midnight.
Gotta love a red eye.
So, it was.
I hate that. But how did they do on that?
It was trying.
Was it better to do the red eye because they were sleepy and exhausted from the day?
We didn't get to figure that out because that flight was canceled. We had to then haul all of our things, including like you have to travel everywhere with car seats.
Yeah. Yes.
And that is a problem. We need more hands.
Yeah.
We need more. They need to invent a backpack that has like 4 more arms to carry things.
The octopus pack. That's what that is. Yes.
We might be onto something.
We might be. Honestly, could we please remember you heard it here
Patent
first?
that.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
patent that.
Octopus backpacks. Yes, we need that. But it's always
You
a
know,
struggle.
there's
This
just
age
not
is
enough
really,
hands.
but like truthfully, Thomas, this is a really tough age to travel. Like you really you went for the master's level travel experience by going to, across country with teeny tiny twinnies. So yeah, so that's not unheard of, but you made it.
We made it. We got through it.
Yeah.
We lived to tell the tale.
Look at that. Look at that.
But I do have some severe PTSD,
I could imagine.
and they will be going to Disneyland as teenagers, I think. Like, I'm not doing that.
Just do Disney World for us. It's a much quicker
That's what I mean.
flight.
Yes.
That's
World.
it. It's that. So you could also take Amtrak down there. You do not have to fly. You could also drive. It's just a quick 20 hours. A quick 20-hour car ride. Not a big deal from us.
We're going to Charleston in November, and that is a 2.5 to 3 hour flight.
Yeah, that'll be fine. It'll be great.
And there'll be 3. So that's going to be our next attempt. Nothing until then.
Here's my best tips for you. Are you ready? All right.
Yes, please.
You have to get them their own seats now that they're 3, right? Okay. So
we fibbed when we went to LA. We said they were under 2, and we should have gotten those seats because that was uncomfortable. Just
now there's no way they're getting away with that. But you sit in front of each other. So instead of sitting across the aisle, you sit 2 and 2, and you put the kiddo by the window, you block the middle so that you keep the little army thing up, and you sit as far back in the plane as you possibly can. And that way, if you need something, you could yell to one of the flight attendants, like, we need tissues. Could we have a glass of water? Like, you don't have to, they're stationed right there. Plus, if the kids,
the bathrooms are right there too.
Exactly. Yeah. And people in the back of the plane are also a little bit more patient and less judgmental, because the people who book the front are like, I want to get on. I want to get off. This is what I want to do. People in the back are like, we know we're going to wait. We'll see if we could get our luggage on the top. Like, it's just like you just breathe into the rear of the plane.
It's like VIP tickets versus nosebleeds.
Correct.
Like, when you're in the nosebleeds, a lot can happen that won't bother you. But if you're front row,
yes,
and someone's blocking you, you're like, I paid for this experience. Like,
that's it. And then the rear of the plane, we gang up on the front of the plane. Right now it becomes an us versus them. But that I always used to think about when we would travel when they were tiny. Oh, and the other thing is, make sure that you have a change of clothes in case you have like a protein spill, shall we say, then you're not sitting in it, because everybody remembers to bring clothes for the kids and pack like everything in the diaper bag. And then you're sitting there with duty on you because things just took a turn on the way down.
You've got to remember to think of yourself.
You have to, otherwise you're the one sitting in duty. Like, nobody wants that. But yeah, travel with Twinnie is fun. It gets better. And I always just keep in mind, like, they're getting to experience new things. And yes, we are traumatized, but they're not. Right? Like, you're like, how did everybody get off the plane? Like, how did everybody get off? You just screamed for 2 hours. How are you okay with this? Right? And they're like, blah, 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 blah. Look, Lego store, right? Or whatever it is. And then we're like shell shocked and we're like twitching and we don't know what to do. The kids are blissfully unaware of anything that's happening.
Ignorance is bliss. I love it.
It really is. It really is. So now here we go. You're going into the 3s. And now you're settled where you are. What happens now? Like, now they're going to start school. Are you getting a puppy anytime soon? What's going on? Oh, come on. Don't be a wimp about the puppies.
Oh, we have 2 dogs. And I told Ryan, I said, once this life cycle has had its course, I want 10 years of no dogs. 0.
That's what
I want to enjoy nice things. I want to enjoy rugs. I will share this tidbit of news with you. We're not going to get a dog, but we're going on another journey. It's yes, we're having another baby.
We having 1 or 2?
A singleton. So
how boring. Come on, Tom. Seriously.
We try. Okay, so our doctor, I don't know how familiar you are with RMA.
Oh, yeah, that's a graduate, boo. It's my spot.
They have now been bought by Illum, and have higher ups to answer to, and they no longer allow double embryo transfers.
Yeah.
So we could have changed fertility clinics and tried. I think California, San Diego still does double embryo transfers, but we didn't want to have to start from scratch. We had a little bit of a time frame. Our surrogate is carrying for us again, the same surrogate.
Oh, Thomas, that's
She's
beautiful.
incredible. I know, right?
I'm so
We've-
happy about that.
Our transfer's in 2.5 weeks. So
Clock's a ticking. How exciting. What was the big catalyst in saying, okay, we need more? What was that discussion like for you boys?
Well, I said, I can't graduate from this toddler phase or else I'll get too comfortable outside of it. So we need to have another baby now so that I can still, so I'm not comfortable in like a new phase and go back to this chaos I'm living right now.
Yes, I understand.
I've always called myself a masochist. Like I always work harder instead of smarter. And I'm like, I always make life more difficult for myself in some ways, but I honestly think that's a good trait of mine. It makes me stronger.
I agree.
And better equipped maybe to handle things that
I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. That's so exciting.
It's so exciting. I'm scared. Can we curse shitless?
Yes, I have chills. I have chills for you. And because the thing is right, when we have twinnies, you went in blind on this whole experience. You're just like, we're rolling the dice. We're going to see what happens. Here we go. You boys got 2. You're like, okay, we're going to make it work. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to make this fit, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, let's do this again. But that's the time that's when everybody does it. Like, you don't want to get too comfortable. And so you stay in diapers, right? So you're like, let's just keep this going. We know that we're killing the environment with diaper by diaper. I'm in. I love it. Let's just do it.
It's so bad. There's so many diapers.
Right. I keep thinking.
And that's just my 2 kids. Like, think of all the kids in the world. That's so
Thomas,
many
think about how
diapers.
we don't have plastic bags or straws in New York City for everybody out there. And I know straws are like gone. I don't think straws are really the problem. Yes, me too. I know better. I don't have my straw right here. But like the funny part is at a restaurant yesterday, they gave me a cardboard straw. And I'm like, guys, no, thank you. I was like, do you have a plastic straw? And they're like, yes, we have a plastic straw. And I was like, you're killing the turtles. Right. And guys, I really do love sea turtles. Like, no joke. I'm not saying that I want the environment to die or the world to burn, but that's probably not the problem. Right. I think about just twin families with the diapers that we have. And maybe if they made like totally compostable diapers less than 75 cents a diaper, like maybe we could consider this, right? I have noticed the trend of people definitely cloth diapering more, like that's definitely going that way. But damn, man, it's cuckoo.
We weren't part of that trend or movement.
Here it's tough. Like we don't always have washer dryers in our apartment. So like New York, it's a little mixed in our 5 boroughs, but like for people who have like, a regular washer and dryer and like typical space, they're going for their air drying them outside. It's wonderful. But like now you're staying in diapers, you're rolling the dice in 9+ months. You're going to have another little bean that's going to run around. How are you even going to tell the twinnies? Which the good news is that they're so little, they're going to have very few memories without the new baby, which is delicious.
Right. I don't even think, they see a baby and they go, oh, baby, or they hear a baby crying and they're like, baby. But I think if we were to say, you have another brother or sister on the way, I don't think that would like connect just yet. I think, who knows what the next 9 months will hold. They're developing at a very rapid pace. Their teachers have pointed out how good they are at painting.
Aww.
Like they're very clean about it, very precise. Like we do painting here, but like I guess a lot of the other kids are very messy about it. Maybe it's the Scorpio, and I don't know. Scorpios aren't necessarily clean. That's the Virgo, like me.
Yes. Correct. But honestly, I think maybe when you have twinnies, we have a little bit more rules in the house, right? Because if we had two kids that were flinging paint on the walls, that's really, not really going to be working out for us. But with twinnies in general, I think that we're not, I don't want to use the word stricter, but we're a little bit more organized. And by proxy, then I think our kids are a little bit more organized because they just have watched us do it.
Yeah.
So
leading by
what's happening-
example.
Exactly.
And I will say they are very yin and yang. Like Benjamin is the rule breaker and Demi is the rule enforcer. So if I say no, she'll go, no, Ben. Or like if he makes a mess, she'll like bring a paper towel and like try to make him to clean it up. And if he doesn't, she'll clean it up.
Yeah.
Like it's maybe even having like they love Mercedes, our live-in nanny. So, just seeing her keep everything clean could also be a huge part of them acting that way.
Absolutely. So like
Demi loves to clean. Give her a wet rag and she will just wipe every surface.
I love those people. I want to literally befriend anybody. My aunt is like a manic cleaner. So for her birthday, I let her clean out my junk drawer every year. And I'm like, your gift is you could clean out this drawer and you could
everyone wins
anything you want. And she's like, really? Anything I want? Yep. You could throw out anything you want. Just it's your day. Please clean out this junk drawer.
What a lovely
Band-Aids from 9 years ago. Yes, she gets a new drawer every year. This year I've already been hoarding soy sauce packs in that one specific drawer. We all have a soy sauce drawer. So that's the drawer that she's going to get to clean this year. She's very excited because every time she comes and she opens it, I'm like, not yet.
Not yet. Counting down the days.
Soon you will. And she's like, please, just let me clean the stove. No. Okay, you can clean the stove. I don't know how people love that, but there are definitely, I love those people. I am not that person. I am a soy sauce hoarder. God only knows. And all pack is, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I'm ready for the next pandemic and I'm going to just live on soy sauce and ketchup packs. I think that's what we're going to do.
Ryan is very much that way. I throw out the packs, but Ryan hoards them. He even, when the pandemic happened, he got a survival kit, like almost like iodine packs, like gas masks.
Wow, you really went in.
Like things you would have in like a underground bunker for like a zombie horde attack, like kind of thing. I'm like, okay, but it's still sitting in he's the hoarder of the two.
But that's good to have. You never know.
One day it might come in handy.
Yes, it's going to be our city too. We do know this. This is we're ground zero for zombies. So yes,
they test everything out here.
That's it. That's how we were. We were the big hitters for the pandemic. So here we go. That's it. Zombie apocalypse. Ours is that my husband bought life straws so that you could drink out of any body of water and it filters the water.
Oh, that's cool.
Those don't take up.
I could get into that.
And it's little. So that was it, right? Because living in small spaces, we could only have so much survival equipment.
So you can take that straw and go up to a
lake
or a
lake. Yes.
And just sip through it and be not.
Supposedly. Oh. We didn't try it for the record. Like I was like, don't know.
But you have it just in case.
Yes. And I'll roll the dice and risk it and see what happens if and when we get to that point. I hope we never do. But seriously, I don't know why. I feel like us in New Yorkers, you want to talk about PTSD. We're always living like when we had the earthquake the other day, right? I did not think earthquake. I thought terrorist attack. I
felt nothing.
That was my instinct. Nothing. Oh no, I felt everything. And I'm like, first of all, I thought the boiler was exploding, right? Because I live in a little tenement building. So I was like, okay, definitely, here we go. Second was building collapse. Then third was terrorist attack. And it didn't even occur to me that it was an earthquake.
There are, I see shirts up and down 6th Avenue at the little souvenir kiosk. Like, I survived the earthquake of 2024.
I can't.
April 5th.
I love it. My friends from the island of Long sent me like there was a lounge chair on the floor and they're like, we will rebuild. Right. Every time it was just like a folding plastic chair.
Even better. There was I think a New York City trash can tipped over. It said, we will rebuild.
We will rebuild. Yeah. That's how we do it. It was so funny, but I was so happy that that's all it was. I was like, oh, an earthquake? Okay, I didn't know we had those. My
friend called me and was just like, are you okay? And I'm just going about my day. Like,
that's so funny.
Yes. did I
missed
post
it.
something that made you think I'm like off my rocker or something? Like, what's going on? And she's like, did you feel the earthquake? I'm like, there was an earthquake? Shit.
You didn't
No,
even
I
did you
didn't.
feel the second one?
No.
Oh, we had it. Well, I think because we live in a building made of twigs. I'm pretty sure. Like
I'm in an
the
old
Twin
building too.
Oaks,
I don't know.
I don't know what happened. Me down here, I was sure that we were ready. It made me think of the life straws. And I was like, okay,
Where is it?
I'm ready to
Promise.
go. I'm ready to go. Like at any minute, I'm like ready to go. Like we have a plan. My family has a weird plan. We're just weirdos. And I didn't do that. The kids and my husband did. Like I was not involved in like our emergency evacuation plan, but they all know that I'm the first to go. They have all decided that I have no shot. So they're going to push me in front of the zombies, and that's how they're going to get away.
You're the bait or whatever. You're the shield. The shield.
I am literally the shield. So Twiniversity audience, guys, where you value my life-ish, right? My own
Yes.
family. Nope. I am the sacrificial lamb. That is what my role is in my life. Oh, I love this. And I'm so happy that you're home. And I'm so happy that the kiddos are here. And I'm happy that you feel safer and that you feel happier. And I never want you to feel judged. I always want you to have a whole heart, open all the time, ready to accept any love that comes in, because living on the edge of like, can I talk to this person? Can I talk to this person? What is this person thinking? What is this person thinking?
Yeah.
That's not a life to live.
It's tough to read minds. And we are really trying to expand our friend group. Like we're trying to make more friends with
Good.
people who are parents, other gay parents, and just anybody who has kids, come be our friend.
Yes.
Like seriously, it feels like it's so hard to just make a friend. Like, I don't know, in my 20s, knocked it out, established our, friend group. And then now it feels so hard to make new friends. And now that I'm in a different stage of my life, and a lot of the friends that I have who are not parents, it can be hard to connect with them sometimes. So
absolutely.
We're really looking to expand our network. And, I might have to be a little more present on the Twiniversity Facebook page.
Please do.
Now that I'm back in the city, I feel like
You
there
have
are
no
a lot of
excuse.
people around us. There's
Yes.
got to be a lot of people. Like, there's got to be a neighbor nearby listening.
Absolutely. Thomas, have you ever heard of a group called Gays with Kids? It's literally gayswithkids.com. And it is such a really freaking great group. It really is. Like it's these guys that have started it, I've met with them many, many times. I'm very lucky because like anybody in the parenting industry in general, like we're all kind of a little tight group, but I know that the team from Gays with Kids does events and stuff for dads, and it definitely skews more dads than moms. I actually don't even know if they even market towards my mom families at all, but it really is such a great group, and they have events, and I believe that they have like an annual retreat where they do like a cruise, or they go to Italy. They like do like a big crazy trip.
Like an excursion with the kid?
Yes. You do a family vacation.
I'm not getting on a plane to Italy with my 3-year-old.
No, that's okay. We'll put you on a boat.
We'll
go old school.
Better.
We'll go super old school.
We were considering maybe a cruise out of Miami could be fun.
You could do a cruise out of New York. What are you trying? You would leave right from Jersey.
You're right.
Yes.
Right. There's cruise
Port
ships here
Canaveral.
too.
It's literally right there. You take an Uber to it. It's like, I think $82 to take the Uber, because he's got to charge us twice because he's got to come back in. But yeah, it's definitely doing things like that with people that you could just let your hair down and just be you and not worry about it. That's what everybody really wants. And Thomas, you're not the first person to say it's tough to meet like parent friends, right? So it's tough to make dad friends because it's this weird.
And I don't know if that's just a parent thing or if it's even harder for us gay dads. I don't know.
No, it's everybody. Because even my moms that I work with, because I've been working with some singleton families to do lactation. It's a long story. I need 1,000 hours clinical. I'm going to work with everybody who needs me. But I know that it's a very isolating experience. And it's
Yeah.
hard to be like, okay, I have these kids. What am I going to do? But there's the Manhattan Twins Club for us. That's one thing for you, which is plenty of dad families. And then you have Gays with Kids, which is another one. But you'll see too, it's a temporary time because once the kids go to real school, like once they start kindergarten, then you have drop off and pickup. You have the same people every day. So it's a little bit more sporadic with preschool than it
I'm
is.
going to be the head of the PTA.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it. And then you do events for the kids and you're like, we're going to do bingo. And then you make all your mom friends. When my kids started kindergarten, it was like a whole new generation of friends that I had. And I didn't see
Yeah.
that coming, but they've turned into like really solid inner circle. I
Lifelong.
call you and tell you, get a shovel and meet me here. Like those, it's that circle of people, which I didn't anticipate being at this stage of my life and being able to make friends that were that solid. But it starts again in school. It's very difficult for that transitionary time from like birth to 5 years old. It's very lonely. You don't know like what's going on. And then even that, you might have a conversation with somebody at a playground and then somebody does a duty and you got to run. So you can't even finish the conversation. But once they start kindergarten, I think that, and then there's a PTA or just a bake sale or bringing cupcakes to school, like you just get into that society and that becomes your new family. So there's
it's something to look forward to for sure.
Absolutely.
But even moving back to Manhattan, like we've been spending so much time like at the Central Park Zoo.
Yeah.
The kids went on the carousel in Central Park for the first time. The MoMA's right here. The Children's Museum is right across the way.
Oh, that's perfect.
There's just so much more to do here. Like when we lived in Long Island, we had the park and we had the Long Island Children's Museum, and that was pretty much it. So I feel like there's so much more to do, and that will lead to more opportunities to meet people because otherwise we were just sitting at the house. There was not even an opportunity to say hi to a stranger or like
a general rule too is like we have our local museums, right, which is Natural History Museum, the Met. They have family programs, but like go to the family programs or get the family membership because then they'll have like member only events and then you could be like, hey, let's meet up for a play date. And this isn't just a New York thing. This is any place that you live, no matter what museums they have. They usually have family days, but it's worth like investing the $150 or whatever it is for the annual membership if it's in the budget, because that's another way to make friends. And I think people forget that nonprofits really want to help you connect because that's how they stay alive, right? They need our bucks to keep going and buy that next exhibit. But I'm just so excited that you're here. And I'm so really, really, really excited for this new little bean that is going to be on the way. That's just perfect. And I'm so scared that I'm so happy that the Twinnies didn't scare you away from doing this again.
It was close. No, I feel so blessed because, even 50 years ago, I don't even think that this was really possible for our community. And, we have so many friends who are now getting married, same-sex couples who are looking to start a family. And I can't help but feel a little bit responsible for inspiring that maybe to some people. I mean, obviously if you want to be a parent like I did, like that is what you want, that's your dream. But I feel like being almost like an example of a success story of a growing same-sex family, I can't help but feel proud of that.
You really should be. And you're a real parent. You're not like, there's different types of parents. I shouldn't say that you're a real parent. I don't want to take that away from anybody else, but you're really involved in your kiddos, and yes, you have help. Everybody has a little bit of help. You guys just don't have your families with you, right? Like you have Mercedes, right? That lives there with you. A lot of people have a mom that lives down the block. Not everybody. And that's the thing that I think people don't understand about New York City is that a lot of us do have help, but the ones that don't, the reason why you do is because we don't have our families. Right. I live in a very, So weirdly, right. I do have my whole psychotic family here, right. Which I think gave me the freedom to do things. But if I didn't live in a building from 1872, I would have definitely had help, because there's got to be times that you're going to have to go to the bathroom with the door closed, maybe. And then just having that
Maybe.
extra pair of hands, it's always a maybe, because even if it's closed doesn't mean it's not going to open any second.
Right.
Or a knock that says, "What are you doing in there? Can I come in?" And you're like, "Please, please."
So one of my fears was like in the middle of the night, because now the kids know how to open doorknobs. I'm like, okay, they're going to get out of their bedroom and they're going to open the front door and like wander the hallways, somehow get on the elevator and end up outside. Like, that's a real fear. So a hack, I guess, I feel like this evil stepmother and Cinderella, like we reversed the doorknob on their bedroom so I can just lock it from the outside.
Nothing at all wrong with that. And you will also get to a point that you'll want to put an alarm that's on the door. They make like these alarms that are magnetic. So when it moves, it goes off, because there'll be a time where they'll have to get up and you want them to go to the bathroom on their own in the middle of the night. So then you have to reverse the stupid doorknob and you're like, grr, we had to do it. But then you'll always find like the amount of contraptions that I have on windows and doors because of that fear was ridiculous. And now with teenagers, I have to say my best friend is the freaking Ring doorbell. I know everything. Oh, it's the best. It is the best, because they'll be like, "I took the dog down." I'll be like, "No, you didn't." The dog,
the receipt.
Yes. I'll be like, "No, thank you." Or my daughter will be like, "I didn't come home with anybody." I like to answer on the Ring doorbell and be like, "Hey, everybody." Like the doorbell answers, "What's going on over here? It's nice to see all 11 of you while I'm in Florida or wherever I am on a work trip." But yeah, that's just what we have. And those problems, a little bit different for us, but Nebraska's having those same freaking problems as anybody else. Oh,
yes, exactly.
I'm so happy. Like, for real. I just was dying to catch up with you. Like, and I'm so excited for you. And I fell in love with you the minute that I met you, kitchen or no kitchen. It didn't matter. But your genuine enthusiasm to be a parent was really intoxicating. So when you say that you've inspired your friends, honestly, Thomas, I will like totally tell you, you can't but want what you have, because you're really enjoying it. And that's really what it's about, right? Because there's parents who are like, "I didn't want this. This is crazy. I didn't want to." You really wanted these puppies, and you always wanted to be a husband, and you always wanted to be a papa bear, and you're doing it. So how could you not want to drink that in and have a little piece of that for yourself? You're doing really amazing. I'm so proud of you. And you boys are really just super inspirational. And you made it through. The proof is in the pudding, right? You got happy kids. That means you have a happy life, So you're really doing it. And I can't wait to see this new one. And I hope she looks just like me.
We haven't decided if we're doing boy or girl. We might even leave it up to the doctor. But no, thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does.
But like I could even see you on my screen of where you were sitting on that day. So like you really made an impression on me. So just know that when you're out there in the world, that I will always love you forever. I will always be here to support you until they go to college, and then I no longer care.
Well, you're downtown and I'm midtown now, so let's hang.
Dude, I'm driving up there. I'll try not to hit any strollers on my way up, and I'll be like, beep, boop, 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 and then you come out. That'll be how I'll do it. But thank you very, very much. I know you got to go back to the Twinnies, because God only knows they probably painted on the tied Mercedes up. She's probably has flames around her feet right now, but that's okay. She'll manage. But I love you, my love. Thank you so much for playing. And I can't wait to follow the adventures of the new baby and continue with the Twinnies, because poop's going to get real now. It's going to be great. I'm excited.
Well, let's do this again sometime. I really enjoyed it. It's so nice to catch up.
Oh, same here. And for those of you out there in podcast land, if you need anything from us, or if you have any questions for Thomas or myself, email us at community@twiniversity.com. Slide into our DMs on any social platform. We're literally just at Twiniversity on anything. We have no originality, nor are we. It's branding is what they call it, apparently. But we're here. And if you need anything, and if you want to be inspired by Thomas, we're going to drop his links below so that you could stalk him on Insta just like I do, because it really is a lot of fun. It's just exciting. And it's like living a world that I wish that I had the nerve to. You're living out loud, right? You're doing it. You're just amazing. So yes.
Loud and proud, baby.
You're doing it. All right. I love you, Thomas. Say bye to Twiniversity, peoples.
Bye, Twiniversity. Thank you so much for listening. You can find me on socials at I am Thomas Cole, and hope to talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Until next time. See you later, alligators.